Hi there. My old DOS PC died. It's over here. Yes, it's in between my table and my couch, and it houses mousepad. It runs Ubuntu and Windows 98, Windows ME, but that's it. Yeah, it's been reduced to nothing more than a side table, a coffee table. I've been trying to use emulation in order to get the old games and the old operating systems running. There's softwares out there that do virtualization, like a VirtualBox, like Virtual PC, or VMware, for example. With help of hypervizor technology, they sort of form an intermediary layer between the hardware and the software, pretty much like DirectX does in a way, but it provides you with a virtual machine. Now, one would think these type of softwares would be excellent for gaming, especially retro gaming, but that's actually not the case. They use a virtualization of the real PC hardware. They don't provide a retro gaming PC hardware. They provide a Core i5 to the virtual environment, and MS-DOS ain't gonna work on an Core i5, I believe. I may be mistaken, but I need something that provides an environment that is a retro PC. I believe I found it. As one of my subscribers actually pointed out to me, and that's Zontar82, he pointed out to me that there's a software out there, PCEM, which seems to be the perfect old PC emulator, which is much better than VMware, and it does emulate a Voodoo 2. It is very resource heavy, but let's go give it a try. Okay, I've been trying to get another system to work, another emulator to work, thanks to one of my commentators on that's PC Emulator, which actually emulates it emulates a Pentium MMX 233 in a way that the entire system is emulated. Also the BIOS, and I've installed Windows 98 on this as well. And I'm hoping that this will not have any issues. It's not full speed, as you can see. It's almost full speed, but I'm emulating a system that's actually a bit too fast for my for my computer. But it's a very resource power hungry system. Control panel, tweak UI. Desktop, and then there's this print desktop version on my computer. There's something about put the desktop, the Windows version on your desktop. General. Show Windows version on the desktop, which is cool. So basically this is a very similar setup. Restart. It also has the same video card that the DOSBox emulates. And perhaps I should set my Pentium to a slower Pentium, because 233 may be a bit too much for my system. As you can see, the percentage of speed next to PCM, if it's 100, then your system is fast enough. It's below that, it dips. And I have a 4.0, 3.8 gigahertz Pentium i7. It's the 5th generation, I believe. But this basically is, oh, it doesn't print the desktop. Let's check out the hardware. System hard device manager. Ugh. So there's an issue with the IDE drive now. I'm not sure why. There's also an issue with the IDE controller. I'm not sure why. It didn't show up yesterday. The video card is supported, display adapter, and also the Voodoo. But there's some bits of hardware that aren't supported properly. Some hardware detection going wrong, but let's not worry about that. It may actually affect stability. Let's run DirectX, and it's detecting some signatures and stuff. So it's also DirectX 9, and it shows the Pentium to be around 230. So yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Now, because my system can't keep up with the speed completely, some of the performance is stuttery, and perhaps it's wiser to just select a slower system to emulate. But just, you know, without much fiddling, this is just okay. So it detected it. All the files are there, very much like the DOSBox version. The Verge, it's emulated more properly here. You can do the direct draw test. That goes a bit slower. This emulator really presents a different version of Windows every time you boot. I mean, yeah, full screen, and this is really slow. So this is something that DOSBox, even though it emulated a 60 megahertz Pentium, did a bit better. Yeah, I did. Let's do the direct 3D. Now that's okay. So it does emulate DirectX 3D graphics on the S3 Verge, which is actually a very slow. And DirectX 8 was skipped because these drivers don't support DirectX 8. Maybe a driver issue, I'm not sure. But now Voodoo is also supported, and let's check Direct Draw. Doesn't work in window mode, so we only do the full screen mode. And this runs a bit better than the Verge. It's just, you know, it's just, yeah. I did see a bouncing white box, direct draw test, now direct 3D. It can't. It was skipped, so there's an issue going on. Okay, now there's this benchmark thing. Let's 3D mark. I mean, this is just me getting to grips with the various emulators. And of course, nothing beats building your own retro machine. But mine died, and I still haven't got access to any of my old retro computing. So the Verge is supported, so if I run the demo mode in a low resolution, let's show you some of the performance that it does. So if I stick to 640, 480, probably for that resolution, most of the systems are, the system probably is fast enough, but it's actually a bit too slow. It doesn't show you all the graphics because there's supposed to be some sort of glowing effect, which really isn't emulated or done properly with these graphic drivers. Let's change the driver around to Voodoo. Voodoo graphics. Now this does do triple buffer, so this is supposed to work. Demo mode, let's do it at that resolution. So Voodoo does work to some extent. It seems to be less of a power drain on the emulator because it sticks to 100%. So emulating the Verge does take a bit of a hint. And this works properly. You can see the glowing effect. Now, of course, this would totally rock if for example, the early GeForce cards where a Voodoo 3 would be supported. But this is just an awesome emulator. In a way, it emulates the PC. I'll show you some of the configurations in a bit. But yeah, this does it 100%. And I know that it's also capable of completing a benchmark. But this is cool, isn't it? I mean, to be able to run one of these benchmarks shows off a bit of the compatibility. Now, I remember back in, 98, 99, 2000, I saw this demo running on a monitor in the local computer shop. This actually was something that this local computer store had running on the systems that they intended to sell to the users. And basically this is very close to the system that I had back in 1999. Before that I had a Cyrix, but this Pentium MMX 233 with a Voodoo 3 and this Award 430 VX PCI motherboard is something that I did have back in the day. So basically this is my virtual PC, my PC virtualized, the exact same. I had the Verge and I had the Voodoo one. And as you can see, this pretty much runs 100% at emulated speed. I'm not sure, I really don't remember if it was this fluent or this stuttery. But yeah, I mean, this is just so far removed from because that's actually not it's a photo mapped on a surface. I mean, now you can actually see that it is not a fully rendered 3D environment, which it is made to look like, but it's like a cube with a lot of textures mapped onto it. But as you can see, it's able to complete the entire demo. And it does some lighting and stuff. Oh, and you can, I'm not sure if it is possible, but you can actually make it full screen. I'm not sure if it likes that during the render full screen. but you can't see the speed. But you can see the fidelity of the graphics. Okay, so this is the end scroll. Okay, and nope. And let's see if this game Modo would actually run. I think I've stored it on here. Games. Modo. Yeah, it changes resolution to 640 by 480. I mean, it's nothing like running the real deal, but if you're like me and the real deal is, you know, on a virtual graveyard, then this pretty much is the only way for now to be able to work this. So a single race. So I mean, it's far from perfect, but at least it's something. And I think programs like this are actually a way to preserve the functionality of these old systems, because we won't all be able to have these old systems up and running. It is my goal, though, to have a nice Pentium MMX with a Voodoo 1 and a nice Pentium 3 with a TNT graphics card or an early GeForce graphics card, running XP and the MMX running Windows 98 to cater for my retro gaming PC, because I still have a ton of PC games. But as you can see, I mean, it runs smooth. I still have my old reflexes in this game because it's one of the easier arcadey motor racing. Wow, I really have got my skills down still. Oh wow, this really is in my whoops, he says whilst crashing, but yeah, this really is in my number 2. Well, it's not too bad. I mean, quick race, and let's press Alt F4. So yeah, and running DOS games is actually also fairly easy. Let me see if I can run Hexen. Hexen. I mean, DOSBox is easier. You don't have to install a complete operating system. But as you can see, I mean, it's very responsive. There's no issues running DOS games. I think I should install UniVBE as well. Let's see if it wants to go back. Yeah. So basically, this does provide something that is very similar to your old. Let's do SE. Very similar to your old PC with Windows 98. I mean, it does feel pretty. So I mean, running DOS games under Windows 98, you know, like back then. It's better to do it on full DOS, but I mean, it's perfectly possible. Dark Forces. I think it's a demo. No, I still have to install that. Do we have Quake? Yeah, we do have Quake. It's a bit of a... And it does run pretty cool. Whoops. The mouse is tracked a bit. Very enthusiastic. Let me see, where did I come from? Yeah, that's the one. So, I mean, it's very smooth. I mean, I wouldn't mind having a DOS-based machine that does it this smooth. Whoops. As you can see, I've played this game before, but as you can see, switching resolutions and stuff, I mean, on a high-end system, this may actually be more suited for old DOS gaming than DOSBox is, but on lower-end systems. Oh, let's go back and show you the configurations. So, an award for 30VX PCI motherboard, that's the one that I had, or the BIOS that I had. S3 Verge with 2 megabytes, 4 megabytes of RAM, Intel CPU. You can change that around. You can lower the frequency of the MMX. You can actually install a mobile MMX 300. I have yet to experiment with it. I tend to save one of these configuration files with the hard drive in a special directory because you don't want to mess around with the settings with your Windows install. You want to keep it the same. But fast Visor Local Bus, PCI, Sound Blaster, 256 megabytes of RAM, that's actually the maximum. 2 disk drives, IntelliMouse, Sidewinder gamepad, Voodoo graphics with, I believe, 4 megabytes. It's possible to do an Obsidian SB50 with an Amethyst, but I'm not sure what that is. And a Voodoo 2, but that really isn't supported like you want to. Render threads 2, that's probably why the Voodoo emulation works better, because this this emulator uses up to 4 threads, I believe. 1 for the emulation, 1 for the UI and stuff, and then 2 for the Voodoo rendering. But yeah, this is basically my virtual Windows 98 machine. And you can restart in DOS mode. I think. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm quite stoked with this. Quite happy. But still ain't perfect. I really want to have some old hardware back again.